Let's just pretend it worked the first time.
Welcome to the Get Offset podcast. My name is Andrew.
And my name is Emily, and we're here today. Here today.
Oh, sorry. Is that my cue? Hi, I'm Mike Adams, offset obsessed guitar nerd and Star Trek fanatic. That's me. Hi.
Taxi sweater, pushing.
That's me. 100%.
Yes. This is the second time Mike's been on the show, but the first time since we have a video format. So if you are watching or listening, if you're listening, you could actually see Mike's pixelated face. Probably. I don't know.
Our internet in Pennsylvania is dog shit. It's so bad. I get 5 megabits per second upload, so I bet the quality is A-okay. What's
cool is it generally records to your computer and then uploads.
Oh, 6. So that'll take 70 hours.
So this episode may be late. We don't know yet.
We'll try to keep the episode under 3 hours to prevent your download time or upload time from exceeding.
Goodness. I appreciate that, friends.
You might have to take it, go drive to a place that has wireless
to be on the podcast.
Yes, could you email this file?
Excuse me, sir. Please, my MacBook.
It can't handle it. It cannot handle the slow speed.
You could do. I was reading this story about internet speeds in South Africa. They had a contest to see who could deliver like X amount of gigabytes across like an 80-mile distance the fastest, and someone entered and just put an SD card on a carrier pigeon and won because the internet was so slow.
I didn't think carrier pigeons. I thought the passenger pigeons were extinct.
Or it was a pigeon. It was some sort of avian. It just took the SD card to the destination, and it was faster than all the other competing ISPs.
That is the wildest story I have heard in at least 6 hours. That is incredible.
6 hours. Whoa!
I'm getting stories.
So you heard something wilder at 1:30 where you are.
Yeah, I've been awake for at least 3 hours, and I had some weird dreams, so I'm including those in that number.
Yeah.
Well, one way or another, we're gonna get you content. So,
that's where my brain went to.
Wow.
Right to Blondie, to some Debbie Harry.
Well, Mike, how have you been? It's been 2 years since we had you on.
2 whole years.
Almost exactly.
No, I've been really well. If you don't know, you do, but if you don't know, intrepid listener, we used to live in Long Beach, California, and in November we moved back to my hometown of York, Pennsylvania, to be with family and to kind of get a handle on things. What with the pandemic, the dreaded P word. It's been really good to be with family. It's been a lot of fun, safely hanging out with what friends I know. One of my oldest friends named Greg still lives here, so I've been waving at him safely and hanging out, talking music. I've been taking on guitar repairs, and I've been really putting in the effort on the old YouTube channel. And that has been maybe the most exciting development of this entire last year has been the realization that I am capable of making videos, some of varying quality, but I think it's going pretty well.
I like your videos.
Oh, thanks, bud.
I
invited you to a super secret Discord chat.
Yes, you did. And I need to figure out how to click on that because I'm ancient. I'm nearly 40. I don't know what a Discord is.
It does expire.
Oh, wait, for real? Wait, let me look. Yeah. How much time do I have? I'm going to do it right now. Oh, shoot.
Probably like 4 days.
That's not bad. Oh.
Did it already expire?
No, I clicked join. It's a big green button. That's easy.
I like green buttons. Usually less exciting than the red buttons, but also usually less consequential.
The shiny red button. Got any Ren and Stimpy fans? No, nobody got that reference.
Ren and Stimpy wasn't really my favorite, to be honest.
I was not supposed to be watching it, but I did.
I firmly believe, like you, when you say that you weren't supposed to be watching it, because I probably wasn't supposed to be watching it. And I did not come from.
I wasn't supposed to be watching
a
lot of shit, like Care Bear. Well, I got Care Bears eventually, but like anything that bordered on what my parents thought witchcraft was, I wasn't allowed to have.
Yes.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh, they had people in my church had problems with Gargamel from Smurfs. So
Which one's that?
Gargamel from Smurfs. He was I'm going to eat the Smurfs. I forget what he wanted to do with the Smurfs, but he wanted them gone or in his boiling pot. I completely forget what his whole steez was. I think Gargamel wanted to eat the Smurfs. Is that right?
Steez.
I can't remember if it was like eat or
Smurfs.
enslave or just generally oppress, and all the sorts of actions that white conservatives have a problem with. And
that's very good. That's a very good take. I love that so much. That's my politics boiled down. I'm anti-Smurf. What have the Smurfs done for me? Smurfs. Hey, did you hear how I pluralized Smurfs?
Smurfs.
Smurfs. Like the scarves.
Well, that makes sense because, like, you don't say wolves, you say wolves.
You say loaves. Archers of loaves. We broke Mike. It's been 5 minutes.
Smurfs. I'm gonna think about that the rest of the day.
Smurfs.
Oh, cool. I'm sorry. Right. Anyway. Oh my God.
Oh wow.
Simple pleasures these days, folks. I'm old enough where, it just takes the one little thing to get me going.
Man, yeah. That feels good though.
Feels real good. Feels real good to laugh.
Feels good to laugh again.
Laughing is so important.
Feels good.
Feels real good, boy.
You got a real good laugh, boy.
You got a real good laugh there, buddy.
Got a real pretty laugh.
There's something magical about laughter, and
yeah,
and not in the witchcraft sense.
Oh, I'm not allowed to laugh. Right? Forbidden.
There's
wow. I didn't know the production value had gone so far on this show. Damn, you got sound effects?
Yeah, I have my little soundboard. What I really wish I remember when there was that Arnold Schwarzenegger soundboard, and it would have the little clips like, "Who is your daddy and what does he do?"
Who is your daddy? Listen to me. I loved it.
It's not a tumor.
That soundboard, if I remember correctly, had Mr. Freeze quotes. She's giving me the cold shoulder. I love it. It's my favorite Schwarzenegger role.
Oh my God. He really committed. He committed.
He was very impressive. He was very impressive.
Yeah.
Just an impressive man.
I was arguing with somebody and they were like, Nick Cage is bad. Or like, I think they said like Phoebe Bridgers her acting smashing that guitar was as bad as watching a Nick Cage movie. I'm like, Nick Cage commits to everything he does. And also, sometimes the roles are bad, but he commits so heavily to them.
I know you guys already covered the Bridgers smash gate incident, but I just want to comment. Dan Electro guitars are incredibly difficult to smash. There are so few people who could have done better than her. Masonite does not give. So
no.
It's great. A valiant effort. I enjoyed the production value of the sparking fake monitor. That was my favorite part.
I thought that was really funny.
My stage manager friend and I immediately talked about it. She was like, "That was a mistimed charge." I was like, "Yeah, I know." It didn't go off at the right time. But I loved it. I'm fully in support. Anyway.
Yeah, that was good. I made money off of that video. Nice. A lot of people watched it.
I saw that you got on that. You got on that grind, and I was very proud of you. I had also thought about making a video, but I was like, you know what? I don't care. I don't care enough to spend time on this. All right.
That's valid.
I don't want to sound like I didn't care, but like...
But
I couldn't imagine. The thing is, I put out that video because I thought too many people cared too much.
Yes, and
that's a great way to put it.
You did the exact right thing. Yeah. You.
Like, here's your dumb, stupid comment, and here's why it's wrong.
You struck while the iron is hot. You did it.
I had to.
I mean, yeah, if I had cared just a little bit more, maybe I would have too. But I was like, I don't feel like making a video today. Like, that's not going to happen.
I think I was just in shock with how upset people were over. I'm like, you guys say rock and roll is here you go.
Yes,
is this not? Are you not entertained?
God,
this is entertainment. It's always entertaining when you're hanging out with entertainers.
Yeah, exactly. It should be a show. It's theater. It's spectacle. Come on.
Yeah,
let's have a little fun.
It was friggin' hilarious, honestly.
It's like a lot of the same like folks that had a problem with that were like, but also like Kiss is their favorite band. I'm like, look at all of the absurd theatrics that they had. Like, come on, Alice Cooper.
I don't know how many people.
It's performance.
I only like players who naturally shoot sparks out of their headstocks. I only like it when pickups spontaneously combust on their own. Ridiculous.
I only like it when the neck is just glued on just enough that it smashes real easy.
Oh, you're not a real star man unless the makeup is tattooed on your face, bro. Ridiculous.
And that's how we got Post Malone. So
going after Posty. Oh my God. Do you have the clout for that? Do you have the clout card to go after Posty?
No.
Oh no.
I like Post.
I hope he doesn't have stans like Taylor Swift does that would like eviscerate us for saying that.
Maybe. I mean, you never can tell these days. Everyone's got a stan, and
you know, I really hope that nothing comes out problematic about him because I find him genuinely likable.
Oh, about Posty?
Yeah, I think he seems likable.
His Hot Ones
like,
interview was really fun.
Oh, was it? Does he seem like a nice guy?
I can't tell. I have no ability to judge. I've only ever seen him in music videos and in that Norman's video and on Hot Ones. So
he seemed nice in the Norman's video.
Chill.
Yeah.
Seemed
He
chill.
seemed chill. Yeah. Although I think it's funny that he started getting those tattoos because Justin Bieber had a lot of tattoos. And he's like, I'm harder than Justin Bieber.
I didn't know
that was how it started. I'm like, I think it's this music, and you're like, is he hard?
I don't know if I believe half of the Calvin Klein ads I saw with Justin Bieber being harder than him is.
I thought that was Kate McKinnon in those ads.
I say if a person is truly hard, then they don't need the tattoos. Hard is a state of mind.
If someone can truly write a song, they do not need to smash a guitar, says David Crosby.
Doesn't matter how cold it is.
What has David Crosby really written? Wasn't he just kind of like the vocalist guy in that band?
I don't know. There's a reason that nobody talks to him anymore. So, no.
Isn't that famous Neil Young quote? Like David Crosby should write a book called "Why No One Ever Talks to Me Anymore."
That's great. I love it.
I see Guinevere. He wrote Guinevere, and then
I mean, he's written a lot of lines, but none of them were lyrics. So
you thought about that one for a while. I feel like.
Sorry, cocaine jokes.
We knew what that joke was about. Andrew.
I don't know what any drug is. I'm too innocent.
So there's this thing called witchcraft, and
I know all too well what that means. My Little Pony.
Oh, don't go there.
It's sad,
but for entirely different reasons.
I love that show. I loved the old show in the 80s. I was a big fan. I had my Knight Rider Michael Knight action figure and a couple of My Little Ponies, and I would make them marry each other. I had a weird childhood where like certain things were forbidden, but also I had My Little Ponies and I had Knight Rider and I had all my toys were very disparate and of different genres. So creativity, had a lot of fun. Love that I put that out on the internet. Great.
We'll just make sure to clip that and
pop it in my Discord.
I don't really edit these. I'm not going to edit this.
No, I'm saying you just clip it and also publish it separately.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, yeah. Have fun. You can do that. I don't care.
Make a weird YouTube thumbnail with a lot of like angry looks. Mike had My Little Ponies. The erosion of values.
10 things you wish you had known before you watch Mike Adams' YouTube channel.
Wait till you see the thumbnail for the secret video that we're working on together, Mike.
Ooh.
I can't wait to see it.
I can't wait to hear about it. It's secret. I don't know.
Secret.
Well, I'll tell you later.
You can't say anything. It's a secret. Don't spoil the secret.
Can't spoil the secret. I should be surprised.
There's so many secrets this episode that we can't talk about. It's kind of a bummer, but hey! So, something cool happened to me this week. Can I share that with y'all?
What cool happened?
Absolutely, share.
I'm sorry for that sentence.
my band Sunday Crush, we released a cover of the Santa Gold song "Lights Out" as part of a compilation called "Eat the Rich," which is a compilation of covers from the Gossip Girl soundtrack. So that's on Bandcamp.
That rules.
And all the money goes toward a great cause.
I love it. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you, Stereo Gum and Brooklyn Vegan. Stereo Gum and Brooklyn Vegan both wrote about the comp. So.
Oh, that rules. Oh, yeah. Congratulations, friend.
Thank you.
Yay.
It was really exciting. And it was the first time I played guitar on a record with Sunday Crush.
Oh,
nice.
Oh, cool.
Because I'm not on the album. Yeah, it was fun. I recorded all the guitar parts.
That rips.
And the synth parts.
Wow.
Fancy.
Well, I played the Enzo.
Still synth? Still cool?
It is. It was really cool. You listen to it with headphones so you can enjoy the hard panning.
Oh. Another type of hard that's underrated.
Yes. I also got some new stuff. I got these 2 Walrus pedals, the D1 and the ACS one.
Cool.
So I haven't played with them very much, but I'm excited. And then they're sending me the R1 soon, so I will have to build a whole stereo board that's just Walrus pedals.
That's exciting. Can I show you something I got this week?
Yes.
Please.
It says Ernie Ball. It says foil. Oh, baritone set.
Baritone set.
Yeah. My buddies at Ernie Ball and I have been talking a lot lately about offsets and string length specifically, because some brands, the high E almost doesn't reach the tuner on a Jazzmaster. I'm sure you've experienced that.
Yep.
So we've been making some adjustments here and there to try and accommodate extra string length, because there's like 5 extra inches on a Jazzmaster to string length. So we're working on that. We're making some adjustments, and that might actually bleed into the rest of the string line. So I'm really excited about that.
That's cool.
But the baritone strings are specifically for my Creston offset baritone. Because also strings don't reach that thing. It's too long. So yeah, I'm really excited to fire those up. I don't think there's.
What's the body shape on that Creston Berry?
Oh, let me get it. It's just a Jazzmaster. One sec.
Oh, okay. All right.
Dun 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 dun.
Oh, it's Vader.
Yeah, it's Vader. You see Vader. You know Vadesy.
I know Vader. I just always forget Vader's a baritone.
Yeah. Oh,
nice.
Love that beat.
I got a baritone teleconversion neck for my offset Telecaster.
Oh, cool. That's going to rip.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I love it.
I got the Lawler royalty in the neck pickup and just a classic Tele bridge. Well, I might get a Seymour Duncan bridge pickup for the Tele offset Tele
that's
instead.
Awesome. That's a really good idea. I hadn't even thought about the offset Telecaster, but that's a really good platform for a baritone. That's a really good idea. Oh,
I've already wired that thing to hell and back. Like, I've already done so much. I put the Bigsby on it. I got the 4-way wiring. I got the Stratocaster voice neck pickup.
God,
and I'm like,
cool.
let's just make it a baritone.
What scale length neck did you get?
The Fenders, the one they sell on their website.
Oh, the Subsonic or the... I'm trying to remember what that is.
Honestly, I'm kind of embarrassed. I bought this months ago and just have not really accessed my garage. Like, most of the winter, I put off projects, like the Partscaster Concierge body. I just kind of didn't do anything with it. And now I'm like, all right, I cleaned up the garage. Because I think the big thing is it was just the treadmill in there for 5 months, 6 months.
I mean, what is this period of time if not for putting off projects that you could easily finish in a day or two? I have so many of my own. I fully understand.
I feel personally attacked by that on so many levels.
No, I mean it. I've got so many things I've been meaning to do, and who knows? Yeah. Maybe I'll get to them someday.
Yeah.
Finally got fretwork tools, so finally there are some things I'm gonna finally have to do, and I'm not looking forward to it. Like my 12, I need to completely level and crown that thing, and I've been putting it off for years.
Yeah.
You know, guitar tech problems. Hashtag guitar tech complaints.
Problems. Yeah, so I guess speaking of guitar techs, we helped Steve Selvage from the Hold Steady fix his
I'm so
guitar.
excited about that. I'm glad that we tag teamed that. Hell yeah.
Yeah. I was just like asking questions. I'm like, so it just stopped working suddenly? He's like, a couple months ago. And I was like, and the output's okay?
Yeah, I usually don't. I try not to pop into people's DMs with unsolicited advice, but Steve and I have talked so much recently that I was like, this will be okay. And I just immediately wrote, I was like, check your solder joints. Check your solder joints. It's got to be a solder joint.
I mean, you're right.
Well, I mean, that's the first thing I do on especially Jazz Masters where the wires are coming out of the terminals and get bent. Like that's always the first thing to go. I have saved myself so many hundreds of dollars in replacement pickups or rewinds just by like touching a solder joint. So I'm really glad that's what it was.
Friends. Yeah, I've had friends like give me their guitars and like, I think the pickups are busted. I'm like, let me look. Oh, this wire's not connected.
Exactly. Yeah. Or they're fraying a little bit. It's sometimes just the simple things, and I'm
Look
really
for the
happy.
Easy stuff first. Easy stuff first.
Yeah, always do the easy stuff first. Swap a cable out. Maybe it's your cable. Like there's so many things in between the guitar and the amp that could go wrong. So yeah,
but then how else am I supposed to justify spending exorbitant amounts on nice new gear?
Oh, it's broken. I don't know how to fix it.
Guess I have to buy a new amp.
Spend $800.
Yeah,
I guess I'm getting a new guitar because this guitar doesn't work anymore.
Throw it out. It doesn't work. Oh, I broke a string. Carol Kay used to do that when she would break a string. She'd just trade the instrument in and get a fresh set of flat wounds on a new P bass.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's a Carol Kay story.
Hilarious.
It kind of is.
Her.
It kind of is. I mean, I love her too. I love her sound and her playing, but like, that story I cannot fathom. I cannot fathom that.
She's a wild personality.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it.
I can't imagine doing that once I've bonded with an instrument.
I mean, it really seems like her take on instruments is that they are tools completely. Like she doesn't seem to be sentimental about them at all.
She doesn't care about doing anything the right way. Like if someone would give her a guff for playing bass with a pick, she'd be like, you mean the one that I used on Pet Sounds?
Yeah. And it's the best. I'm 100% pick. I love that sound so much.
You can buy, she sells bass picks on her website, and I bought some.
I didn't know that.
Picks. Yeah.
Rules. Good for her. Way to do it. Another
Speaking
example
of
of grind.
Yesterday was International Women's Day, so nice to talk about
the international one too. Wow.
Yes, and for anyone asking or wondering, International Men's Day is in November.
Yeah.
Shut the hell up.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you in November.
Big dummies, look at a calendar.
Just Google it. Speaking of that, hey Andrew, what's new with you, buddy?
Yeah,
what does that have to do with Google?
I wanted to find a transition, and then I didn't really want to work too hard for it.
That's fair. So what's new with me is, so Fox Sky Row, this has been a month of a lot of very boring businessy type stuff that I'm trying to get knocked out in the back. So that way I can have that whole foundation of like that stuff's taken care of. Now I can focus on new designs and planning out a calendar of releases and stuff like that for the rest of the year. And focusing on the marketing, connecting with people, collaborations, all the fun things that I want to be able to do, but I probably should, finish doing things like paying my taxes, for the state. And
why pay taxes when government doesn't pay us?
Paying taxes and making sure, mostly it's financial stuff, and as well as now I have a business license on my wall. Apparently, I'm supposed to put it there.
Ooh, very adult of you. Very adult of you. Wow.
Well, it's a little adult, but I also use thumbtacks, so not quite as adult. And
well, they're sticky, they're prickly, and they can hurt you. So that's very adult. Kids aren't allowed to use thumbtacks. Don't let a kid near a thumbtack. Adults.
The same could be said about lawn darts.
Or darts of any kind.
Me. Right. You're not old enough for lawn darts, and I'm not old enough for lawn darts.
They are
So
dangerous.
I've been working on that, but in the meantime, as I'm working through that, and Melissa's been so helpful with helping me wade through all of the nonsense, as well as just motivating me / also kind of just doing a lot of it herself, because I've been putting off a lot of projects that I could just do in a day or two. So she's been so helpful with all of this, and I really appreciate it. And we've also been looking over the ideas for the parts caster build, and so going through a whole lot of finished ideas, trying to figure out like, oh, this could be cool, but are we a little out of our depth in wanting to do like a paisley or like a wallpaper finish, then refin over the top of that, then intentionally relic it on the forearm to show?
So rad.
I think that as long as you have like patience,
I think
Just
we'd
work
have
slowly.
patience.
yeah, just work
So-
slowly.
Have you ever talked to Paul Frank?
I don't think so.
Have
Let
we
me-
ever talked to Paul Frank? No, I wish.
Well, no. I mean, he's super active in the guitar community. I'm not trying to name drop. I just can't remember who
Right.
he knows.
Have you
But
ever talked to Billy Gibbons?
have you? Well, the beard. It's no big deal. No, Paul has a lot of experience in that. I should introduce you to. I'm sure that you would all get along. Yeah.
I would appreciate that.
Yeah, he's got extensive experience recovering things. I mean, he's like designed with the custom shop wallpaper that he's printed himself. So I'm sure he would have some advice for you. I'll try and make that introduction today or tomorrow. I got you.
Well, thank you very
Andrew,
much. I really appreciate that.
Oh, but of course.
Andrew, what if you found a wrapping paper that was like Star Wars paisley?
So we don't want to do paisley specifically.
A little
so
Jabba the Hutt instead of a paisley. Roll.
We just call that Antigua burst. And
Yes.
Wow.
no, so we would look at stuff. So we'll say kind of like the idea of doing incorporation of wallpaper and showing it over the forearm, especially with like a forearm bezel on a Jazzmaster. I think it'd be a lot easier to make that look natural and show enough of it to make it worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Without making it look like I just took an like a belt sander to it.
Thank you for your hard work. Please
Just
don't
gonna
do that.
put the sandpaper on your forearm and just play it for a while.
I have done that before.
Does it work?
Yeah, it does. If you get the right grit, you don't want to get like
What's the right grit?
800 or 1,000. You want something that's relatively smooth to
Yep.
wear
Yeah.
through. Like, yeah, it totally works. I felt stupid doing it, but yeah, it works.
If it works, it works.
It totally
So-
works.
Do that before or after you spray it with poly?
Oh, I don't use poly. I use nitro whenever possible.
And
Andrew wants to use nitro.
I want to
We're
do
like,
nitro.
like,
Yeah.
oh, I hope you have a very well ventilated space.
I have the great outdoors itself. Whenever I'm done refinishing.
I've got a covered porch with a lot of ventilation out there, and so I can let that cure for as long as I need to without worrying about getting wet.
I've got
Oh, but it's
lacquer.
still like
I've got the
Not-
outdoors. I've got a fan, and I've got a neighbor that I hate. So, just kidding.
Well, so we've looked at a lot of options, and so like we've sat down and just gone through. We were actually going through your Instagram last night looking for ideas, and
Aw.
Ooh.
I know. So we're going through that. We're going through Spitfire Tort's Instagram because there's so many phenomenal examples of like just great color combinations there. Which is also really bumming me out because I don't know if I have budget for a Spitfire Tort on this build. And I'm like, well, I don't know if I want to do a Tort if it's not a Spitfire. Anyways,
Check out Lava. Have you heard of Lava in the UK? I think
I
they're in
haven't.
the UK. Lava Guards is an up and coming guard maker, and theirs are also really good. Like really
Interesting.
good. And a little cheaper, I think, although I can't do math, so don't quote me on that.
Oh,
Sure.
They don't seem to have a website.
Instagram.
Email Paul, it says. Those do look nice.
Pretty good.
I will have to give that a look. Anyway, so we spent a whole bunch of time looking at options. I've sketched out like 18 ideas of what I want to do for the wiring, and some of that's dependent on whether or not I'm going to splurge for a lipstick behind the bridge, because I've never really done behind the bridge playing, but I kind of want to learn it.
Do it. Or you could also use a gold foil. That'll surface mount easily back there if you don't want to route. That's a good option for that.
I'm going to have to do a custom routed body anyways.
Oh, nice one.
So I think it's less of an issue of getting the routing done and more of an issue of just knowing what I want and then committing to it. before I order the body.
That's always the trick.
It's like I want to be able to order the body, but I have to figure out we want to be sure that we don't want to be seeing any wood grain before we decide on what wood to get, and we want to be sure of what our routing is going to be before we order a body, and that's going to include like the control cavity. It's like I would love to incorporate an arcade switch, and I don't know what for. I don't know if I would want it to. Arcade switch could be cool for doing a strangle circuit. It could be cool for just engaging the behind the bridge pickup.
That could work.
Flipping things into series. I mean, there's a number of things I could see like an arcade switch just being really cool for. That's not just a kill switch that I'm going to wear out and no whammy. So we're just talking through a whole bunch of ideas, and honestly, it's been really nice to be able to sit down and just kind of for me to share some of this, and for her to say, well, because she does painting and stuff for her day job, painting and wallpapering, and so wanting to kind of incorporate that together. It's been a really neat bonding experience so far, and we haven't even ordered any of the parts.
Oh wow!
So I'm really excited to continue to work through this project, and
I'm excited for you. That sounds rad.
Oh, and I think we want to do the all rosewood deck. So, and
that
I guess
kind
this
of leads into our sponsor.
leads into our sponsor. So, Lambertones. That's the shirt I'm wearing.
Ah,
I don't have a shirt.
You should get a shirt. This is actually one of my most comfortable T-shirts I have. Lambertones. So, I'm going to be going with Lambertones on this build. Curtis is so nice to work with me on this. I'm going to do an HSS, and so doing his grinder, which is his higher output PAF in the bridge, and then 2 triple shots for the neck in the middle to simulate an HSS. And because I had a Strat a couple years ago and I ended up selling it, and I miss it, but I miss having a Strat, but I don't miss having that Strat, if that makes sense. And I don't necessarily like, I've never really bonded with the way that like a Strat feels in my hands, but I love the way offsets feel. And so why not just put a Strat set and an offset body? So that's kind of where we're going with that. Very excited for this set of pickups. Because I've played his triple shots before. I've played his grinders before. I haven't played the combination set together, but I mean, I love the way both of them sound, and what could go wrong. So yeah, no, that Curtis is great. He does phenomenal work, and he's super flexible. So if you've got a project in mind, reach out to Curtis. Lambertones is what you should do. Yeah. Oh yeah. And the all rosewood neck. Sorry. Because I'm doing Strat set of pickups, Fender's got an all rosewood neck on their website right now, but it's got Stratocaster engraved. It's not super prominent. How wrong would it be to put a neck that says Stratocaster on a Jazzmaster body with Stratocaster pickups?
I'll just resurface it.
Why would it be weird? Why would it be weird?
I don't know. I kind of like how like it's like,
it's a Strat setup. It's like my offset Telecaster says Telecaster, even though it's a Jazzmaster.
I feel like it's just cheeky and rebellious enough without being like, because it's just engraved. It's not like a decal or anything.
I'd be more upset about the shape of the headstock being wrong. I don't like the Strat headstock nearly as much as the slightly swoopier Jazzmaster. But
Sure.
You can always resurface that or like inlay your own weird like made up name
Water
if you
slide.
want. Yeah, go crazy.
Yeah.
You could water slide it. You could get an engraving kit for a Dremel and do it by hand. That'd be kind of fun.
You would want to practice on scrap wood quite a lot.
Before digging into a very nice all rosewood
It's
neck.
a skill
Rosewood,
that
yeah.
you can develop yourself. Wow. And then you could add that to your repertoire.
It's definitely something because Melissa's done a bunch of wood burning before, and she's pretty handy at it.
Oh,
I'm
that
not saying
rules.
I would wood burn. I'm not saying I would wood burn on a rosewood neck because I'm not sure that would. I'm not sure if that would there'd be enough contrast there to work.
Maybe not.
But so,
Maybe you could fill
along
it
that
in.
same realm of I'm going to brag for a second. She will just walk into she'll be told, hey, we want a mural in this room of the house. And she'll just walk in and freehand it, the whole, the entire wall, and just boom.
That rules.
That's cool.
She's ridiculously talented. And I'm sure she's blushing because she's in the other room right now. But it needs to be said.
Nice.
Want to incorporate that talent.
I'm glad you said it. I'm glad someone finally said it.
A lot of people say it frequently. and for good reason.
Oh, good.
Well, anyways, that was a lot of me talking.
The touching moment
Yeah, that
as well.
happens.
I know. It happens at least once an episode.
Yeah, that's true. We all do it. But we have a topic today that we specifically wanted Mike's input on.
Indeed.
And it is kind of the topic of guitar theft. And that one came to us this week. We saw in the 60 Cycle Hum group, I think it was Vintage Guitar Magazine. Is that right?
Yeah.
Had an enormous theft of at least dozens of guitars.
I think it was 170 in total.
That's over a gross of guitars.
I've never been clear on what a gross is. That's fantastic. Thank you for clearing that up.
Gross is a dozen. It's 144.
Oh,
I think I knew that somewhere in the back of my brain, but I don't know if I could have recalled that if questioned.
Absolutely.
Well, once I accidentally bought a gross of guitar picks, so you learn that.
You learned the hard way on that one.
Who sells guitar picks by the gross?
Oh, eBay?
No. That'll do it.
Sellers on eBay is the
That'll do
answer
it.
to your
I mean, that's
question.
fair, but it seems so. Okay. Sorry, I'm just wrapping my brain around the idea that
People
I
with
need
a
to.
lot of guitar picks want me like, hey, you get a
Okay.
discount.
I'm going
Buy
to
gross.
remember what gross, what the gross number is from here on out, so I don't
144.
get bamboozled or led astray in
It's
the
12 by
future.
12. It's easy. Whatever, dude. So yes, a bunch of guitars got stolen out of a storage unit, but over the course of like 2 months.
Yeah.
Something?
September to December, I believe. If I'm
3 months.
remembering correctly. Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So from my understanding, then it's like the guy was last there in September, and then he came back in December, and all his guitars were gone.
That's what I understand to be true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot of guitars for
A lot of guitars.
one lift, I suppose. I gotta imagine they made a couple trips. Do you think they made a couple trips?
Had to have. There's enough time in there that you could theoretically leave and come back and leave and come back. I mean, especially to steal something like bringing an entire big rig with a trailer to do it all at once would be incredibly obvious. But
Yeah.
I would imagine it was multiple trips. That's what I would assume. Yeah. I don't want to assume anything about this, but yeah. Multiple trips would make sense logistically, unless there's a caravan of thieves with their Range Rovers or what have you.
What would be less inconspicuous? A caravan of thieves or just like one 18-wheeler rolling up?
I feel like an 18-wheeler. I feel like that would raise more questions. Like people go in and out of storage units all the time, and if the people who did this happen to have one there, it would be more conspicuous. I feel like.
Yeah. Do you think it was an inside job, like somebody else who had? We should. I mean, I imagine in my brain that it was somebody else who had access to the storage unit facility.
I think this is an Ocean's 11 or Ocean's 8 scenario entirely. It's like, all right, gang, here's the plan. We're going to go in. We're going to use an EMP to shut down the electricity in the area. Like Don Cheadle's working at a terminal. It could just be someone who figured it out. Someone like, that's a lot of guitars to keep secret. And
I don't know how you sell that many guitars. Like, I feel like there has to be, like, it's a very long game to sell that many guitars that are so rare and old and can command so much money. And we're not going to name names. We know that people did buy these guitars. Some of these guitars had been sold already. Yeah. And to reputable players.
One outlet that I'm aware of that had them only had 2 or 3 of them. So it seems like whoever did this was smart enough to spread it out a little bit. Like you don't take 170 guitars to the local mom and pop shop and you're like, I want to offload all this. So spreading it out.
You bring 5 guitars to a shop and they're like, ooh.
Yeah.
that's weird.
They're like, and usually, like, having owned a guitar shop, usually at some point you go, so where'd this come from? What's the story? And
What's the provenance of it?
exactly. Do you have documentation?
Yeah.
And why is there a crowbar and a Circ saw in your trunk? I asked that question once when I
Why
worked
is
at
this
Guitar
lock
Center.
broken?
We do prefer you wear a mask, but you don't need the ski mask. Can you at least remove that so we can? Oh, sorry. I didn't know I was still wearing this. Wow, embarrassing.
I was like, I'm so sorry. I thought I ordered baklava and with a balaclava. And I thought I'd just wear it.
Yeah, you know, like there's so little information about this. I understand the jump to skepticism and the jump to, this doesn't make sense or it smells fishy. But there have been stories recently of people discovering that they have been robbed from a storage unit through a hole in the wall of an adjacent unit. Like someone would rent the storage unit right next to something where they knew something was being kept and do it that way. And I mean, like from the outside, you never know. You drive by, you see your doors closed, you go, oh, it looks secure to me. So there's any number of ways this could have happened. And I'm choosing empathy over like immediate, like there are a lot of people like this smells like an insurance scam. And that doesn't hold up, especially now that some have been recovered.
Scam, yeah, that wouldn't make any sense really, unless you were thinking you would get paid twice.
Yeah.
But I mean,
but if you can afford that many guitars, what are the odds that you need to commit high level insurance fraud?
That's a good point.
Like,
I mean,
for the thrill of it?
If you treat these things like investments, then like something bad could ostensibly happen.
For sure.
Maybe he was shorting GameStop. We don't know.
Hey. Oh, maybe he was one of the hedge fund managers that lost everything on GameStop.
I mean, things happen and people need things to go liquid. But like, why wouldn't you just sell the guitars?
Look, things have been really hard for me, Craig GameStop, owner of GameStop. I need to raise cash for my family. Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't think it holds up because like I don't know. But as far as like these are hard guitars to sell. Like so my Tunatone here, the prototype of the Tunatone was stolen several years ago, and it was recovered at a pawn shop.
Wow.
And I think the person who stole it was like, oh, a guitar, I can get a couple $100 for a guitar. But of course, like, though these instruments are handmade, not cheap, mm-hmm. The pawn shop owner was like, $20, give you $20 for it. Like, yeah, seriously, bought a Tunatone for $20, kept it in their back room for 3 months, and like the day they put it out, someone was like, like
that's
that fast because it's such a unique guitar.
Absolutely, that is exactly what's happening with this collection. I recognized a few immediately because the bulk of these guitars were extraordinarily rare, custom color offsets, or at least the bulk that are pictured on the vintage guitar announcement. Many of which had gold hardware, which is even rarer. There are a few that I recognized immediately, and those are hard to sell. And the sad thing is that they had been sold already. So when you own a guitar shop, having owned a guitar shop, I can add a little experience to this conversation. But there's a thing called police hold, where you have to hold a piece of gear that you buy for at least 30 days while it runs through the system to check against serial numbers and descriptions of things that have been reported stolen. And usually that catches things. I mean, it's not a perfect system by any means, but it does catch things. And we have inadvertently, like, accidentally sold things that have been stolen that, the system didn't catch. Like that, it just happens. It sucks. That conversation with the person who bought a thing, it always blows. And as a shop, like, you have insurance, but sometimes, you just have to eat the sale. And we always felt that, like, that sucks, especially for us, but we'd rather, do the right thing than worry so much about the $4,000 that we're out now. And usually we got it back. Something like this sucks especially bad because there's this 3-month period where this owner didn't know that they'd been robbed. And so things could have, very well been on police hold for 30 days and checked out because they weren't reported stolen yet. And It absolutely sucks. And like, you're right, Emily, these things are incredibly rare, recognizable guitars. There's one in particular, a Jaguar, that was pictured that I saw it and I said, I know exactly who has this, because it's such a unicorn of a guitar that there's no mistaking it. And sadly, that has already been sent back as well. I mean, no, not sadly. I mean, it's good that the owner.
Good for the owner, but it sucks for the person who bought it.
Still sucks for the person who bought it. I wrote them. I was like, hey, I'm sorry for popping your DMs like this, but I recognized your guitar. I hate to be the guy to tell you this, or maybe you already know, but yeah. And it turns out they knew only a few short weeks after they had acquired it. It's already been sent back to the owner. It's all worked out, but still sucks. Theft sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and even if you don't have the serial numbers, if you have photographs of these guitars, things like dings and scratches in them are as unique as fingerprints.
Easily identifiable. Yep.
Yeah. That happened to Kathleen Edwards up in Canada. She had a vintage Les Paul Jr. stolen.
Oh, I remember that.
She put up this long message like, you cannot sell this guitar to anybody. You cannot play this guitar live. People will see this guitar and they will ask questions because it is rare, because it is vintage, because if you're stealing guitars, and it ended up like it never got stolen. Whoever got it, I guess, got spooked, held onto it, and then just kind of dumped them in a park one day.
God.
Yeah, just put them in a plastic bag, put them on a park bench, and was like, I guess someone will find them. And someone did find them and recognized them, and
thank goodness.
Called Kathleen's coffee shop, and she was driving there within 15 minutes of like the guitars being found. Like, it's hard to sell these kinds of guitars. But what I also know that happens, and I've heard horror stories in this, especially in Texas, people will have guitars stolen and they'll be driven straight across the border to be sold.
Yep.
Like entire tour vans.
Yeah.
Of gear.
That sucks. God.
Yeah.
It sucks so much. I would be heartbroken. I hope that never happens to me. And how heartbreaking to lose anything. I mean, theft is never great, but if guitars are, even if this person is a collector and just really has an affinity for the guitar, like, they're still important artifacts. There's still a significance to them, as music making machines, as like things we bond with. I can't even bring myself to say what if something happened to Pancake? Like, that would end me.
What's what happened to my teeny tuna? I'm with you.
Oh, I can't imagine that heartbreak. I'm so sorry that happened to you.
It didn't happen to me.
Oh, it didn't happen to you?
No, it happened to Layla, the builder.
I thought it was yours and stolen.
No, she loaned the prototype out to a friend who played guitar, and then that friend got robbed.
That's even worse.
It was the only prototype she had. It was what she takes to like guitar shows. It's what she sends to people who are interested but don't know if they can commit to a build.
Well, I'm so sorry that happened. Oh my God. To have a thing that you worked so hard on stolen? Ooh. Yeah. Oh, the fury that would arise within me.
Oh, I know, man. But no, she got it back. It's back home. No worse for wear.
Good.
But so like I know that Andrew asked us in the before we talked about before we hit record rather, but like, what do you do if somebody steals your guitar? What do you do if your guitar is stolen?
It's always good to have photographs and to write down serial numbers and to keep pictures or descriptions of identifying marks, such as things written in the cavities, pictures of like the neck pocket. If it's a vintage guitar, that will help immensely. Pictures of the end of the neck for the date. Pancake, I'm looking at Pancake. It's got that like Eye of Jupiter on the armwear position. It's also got some cigarette burns that are pretty easily identifiable. Wear patterns. I may or may not have written my name in certain places as well. Just anything you can do to make it.
Doing that in the routing. I've heard about people doing that in the routing.
Yeah, anything you can do to make it clear that it's your instrument will help. There's also a system. It's like a low jack for a guitar where it's like a microchip that sends out an RFID signal and you can scan it and have your info. It's like when you put a chip in a beloved pet, like same thing.
Yep.
Same thing. So there are many ways to hide that on a Jazzmaster, which is great. But and it also we'll also say, in the event this happens and you can't get your thing back, like, get renters or home insurance. Like, make sure that your stuff is covered. Send all that info to the insurance company. Get them all
That doesn't work
appraised.
though if you play. If you play out, you need special. If you play out, you need special insurance.
Absolutely.
I have a personal artifacts policy for my guitars, and that seems that they've told me that I'm covered even when I play out.
Oh, see, that's great. That's incredible.
Yeah. Pancake is literally a guitar someone stole that. They could not sell that.
Most of my guitars are weird enough that I think they would be immediately identifiable. Like 3PO, I don't think could go anywhere without being recognized. Pancake as well.
Well, I mean, maybe they didn't recognize him because of the red arm.
Yeah. That's a Star Wars joke. This guy over here gets it. He's a real true fan.
You made him blush.
Yeah. So, yeah, but in the event you don't have things that are intensely recognizable, then do anything you can to make it clear that it is your instrument. And sometimes even that isn't enough. Honestly, it sucks. Absolutely sucks.
So what happens if, let's say, you buy an instrument and find out that it was stolen? And so, of course, you do the right thing, you return it. But what about the money that you're out of pocket? Like, what with insurance? What is the process of getting that money back?
Sometimes you'll get it back. Other times there's no hope. Like, you got to give the money back to the person who bought it. You got to give the thing back to the person it belongs to. Like, sometimes there's just no hope for that. Or, I've heard of examples of people like buying a guitar in a parking lot. I paid $150 for this. And it's like, yes, of course, here's your $150. Like, you're not out anything.
Yep.
Maybe I'll double that because you let me know.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of ways it can go. Sometimes it just doesn't work out for anybody, really. So, yeah.
I know a buddy of mine bought, when I was down in LA and working at the Pasadena location of Guitar Center, he bought, he was a college roommate and he also worked with me at the same location. And he had disappeared for an evening, came back with a mandolin. I can't remember. I don't remember what brand it was, but it was like a nice mandolin. He's like, oh, I got it for like $350 and it should have been like $1,000 mandolin. And then like the next day he called me, he's like, hey, I don't feel good about this purchase because I don't think the guy knew what he had. And I'm beginning to wonder. And I'm like, okay, well, when we worked at Guitar Center, we get emails from all the local areas of like what gear had been stolen, things, here's what to look out for. And so he went to go look and it turns out it had been stolen from the Sherman Oaks Guitar Center like the week before. And he's a Guitar Center employee. So Guitar Center was kind enough to pay him his $350 back for it. I'm assuming there was insurance money that went with that.
Probably.
To recover it. But like that was a happy story. Like he is a fresh college graduate and like it would have really sucked to have been out $350. So it was a happy story, but that's not, I don't think that's the story every time. And I can't imagine, like, especially with some of the more expensive vintage instruments, like the gold sparkle jack, I can't imagine like, $5-6 or however much someone paid for it and not being able to get that
Probably
back.
an immense amount of money, given its provenance, given the rarity of original Fender sparkles, being a Jaguar with bound block inlays and, what an incredible instrument. I feel so bad for the person who bought that. But that person, I'm not going to reveal who it was, but they got plenty of guitars. They're going to be fine. They're going to be fine.
Sure.
This wasn't like their first like white whale.
Yeah, it wasn't their like dear vintage guitar forum. It finally happened to me. I can't believe it. No, this person's got some Primo articles. It's going to be fine.
Sure.
Yeah.
Maybe not everyone who's going to buy an instrument secondhand like that is going to be in the same boat. Oh, yeah.
And if you were searching for that guitar your whole life, how devastating.
Yep. There's only, I'm sure I've mentioned it before, but there's only one guitar that I would sell everything to get. And if I had the chance to buy it for a good price and then I found out it was stolen, like, that's it. I'm done. No more guitars for me.
What's the guitar?
No comment. I'll take that question off the air.
All right.
Oh, And that was your broadcast
because I
voice.
really want it to happen someday, and I'm scared if I put it out there too much, then it's never going to happen. And then if it does
I
happen,
would
it's
think
going
if
to
you
be.
put it out there, I bet if you put it out there, someone is going to be like, you're going to get tagged every time this guitar goes on sale anywhere.
Well, I got to think about it because this guitar, there are only 3 pictures of it on the internet. Nobody knows who has it. You know, I'm hoping for like an American Pickers sort of thing where I just stumble upon it in the middle of America. But I'll show you later. I'll show you later.
Okay.
I would sell everything.
It's not a Prince Cloud guitar.
No. Not something that's terribly known outside of a certain circles. But we'll see. We'll see. Fingers crossed, friends.
Fingers crossed. So another thing that I saw people comment on a lot about this particular theft was people being mad that there were so many guitars that were apparently not noticed missing for 3 months. And on one hand, I get the frustration around that. I don't know. I think I'm kind of mostly in the camp of like, that's a lot of guitars to just have.
Yeah. It is a lot of guitars.
People collect it. There are people who collect everything, and and I have to imagine that collectors just really love the things that they collect.
By and large, I think that's like every collector that I know. Like, I don't know any collectors who are cartoonish villains twisting their mustache and in the hopes of keeping instruments. Nobody's ever going to play this again. Like, that's not most collectors.
It's like, I collect bobbleheads, but I also hate bobbleheads.
Exactly. Like,
can you imagine?
I can't imagine.
They give me nightmares, but I can't stop collecting them.
But most of the collectors that I know and have worked with and have met are people who just have an affinity for the instrument and what it means. And a lot of them, by and large, are people who want to preserve them. Like, it's never about keeping them out of the hands of players. It's like, I can think of one person that I know really well and have sold many things to. And his whole thing is like, I have this money, like I have been blessed to be able to purchase these things and keep them so that they can live on, that they're not going to be abused or broken or lost. And so, you know, not every collector is that kind-hearted. Some may indeed be hoarders. Some may indeed, you know, be just looking for a straight profit. There are all kinds out there. Some collectors are, you know, actual players who are touring the world. In the case of the person that I was talking about earlier, or like, you know, say what you will about Joe Bonamassa, I certainly have opinions myself. I've been to his house, and one thing is clear from the time I spent at his place is that he really does care about preserving them. And he like is the rare example of like someone who actually plays most of them out. So, you know, there are all kinds involved.
It reminds me of art collecting. Yeah. In a lot of ways. Like, you can't put every Rothko in a museum. Yeah. You can't put every piece by famous artists in museums. Like, there have to be private owners of these things, and hopefully they're enjoying them. Yeah, you know, in their homes, or it makes them happy. It is, I think, a little. But you also hear about art collectors and kind of the getting snippety about like keeping a painting in a temperature controlled vault. Yeah. And never looking at it. If I had a temperature-controlled vault for things that I had, like, I probably would. I probably want that. I mean, heat and humidity on guitars. But, like, you know, so I understand the frustration of, like, somebody having too many things, or, like, you know, eat the rich. I'm all about it. But this is not a person who's like voting against the minimum wage increase. You know, like this is not that person. And I don't know this person. I don't know this particular collector. I know their guitars, but I don't know them. So I can't speak as to the quality of their character or their intentions. But like, again, I'll say I'm choosing empathy. Like, that sucks. If this person has 170 guitars in a storage unit, chances are they've got more somewhere else. Chances are they've got more at home. Like, and their intention is probably in the right place. Like Norm from Norm's Rare Guitars, he's got facilities that he won't disclose their location to prevent this from happening. But you always see the Norm's video. We just took 50 guitars out of storage. And I don't know, like, yeah, his goal is probably commerce, but I also have met and spoken with Norm, and he
loves guitars. Absolutely loves them. Has been stealing them away since the 1960s, like his or 70s. Has been trying to like keep them so that they could, these rare custom colors could come out fresh again someday. And yeah, he's gonna make what's the term, buttload of money? He's definitely gonna make that. But they're gonna
a worker's worth his wages as well, though. So I mean. That's not like he's like just flipping them for fun. Like there's a passion to it. There's a whole lot of hard work in it. Literally just the rent on a facility to store all of them safely.
And let's also be completely honest. Like I also understand the argument about like they're music making machines. They should be in the hands of players. I partly feel the same way. Like I get it, but it also rings kind of false to me the same way that you should give that guitar to a child argument often does, because like you can make up like a nebulous child or a completely nondescript player in your mind, but who is actually going to tour with an incredibly rare 66 gold sparkle Jaguar? Who is going to be the person to start wearing that finish down or to cause a refret on that? Like some of these guitars, I hate to say it, they do belong in a museum, or they do belong in some place where they can be kept, because there are so few original Fender Sparkles. There are so few of that particular guitar. Like Songbirds would be a good place for that to live. And sadly, Songbirds Museum does not exist anymore. But I get it. I think as a guitar tech, as someone who loves the guitar, like I do also see the value in preserving these things for future generations, because I'm not the world's greatest guitar player, and I have some rare stuff, but I'm also using them, and I'm not exactly nice to Pancake. I have thrown my 63 Jaguar. I have thrown Pancake. Like they are things that I use, and I'm good with that because there's permission. There's permission on these guitars. Like Pancake was already beat up when I bought it. My Jaguar is a refriend. I can do that because I have permission. A rare gold sparkle 66, an ocean turquoise Jazzmaster with gold hardware. No, those are things that we just won't see ever again. Or if we do see them, they'll be custom shop, and then you can beat those up. Go crazy. But like some of these things, it breaks my heart. You want to make music with them. Sometimes they do go to sessions. Sometimes they do get used in the studio. But yeah, I think those things need to be preserved. That's just me. I'm okay to be disagreed with or be wrong about that, but I feel strongly about preservation as well. So, flame me in the comments, I guess.
Well, yes, I agree, and I'm gonna piggyback there a little bit if you don't mind.
Hop on my back, buddy. Giddy up, old partner.
So awkward.
Yeah, super weird. I regret saying that. Can we clip that out too?
That was weird. No.
Live life with no regrets, Mike. No regrets.
I do miss piggyback rides. I miss that. The pandemic has stolen piggyback rides.
I miss being light enough to be the recipient of a piggyback ride.
That's why I do squats, buddy.
Yep.
Squat.
So when this is all over, I'm ready. I'm ready to piggyback.
There you go. No, so to piggyback here, I think the museum, like the whole belongs in a museum. I'm just imagining like that belongs in a museum. Like,
Indiana Jones. We get it. We got the reference.
And there is so I love thinking about Indiana Jones stealing artifacts from indigenous populations. There's a lot to unpack with that. I would love to see, if they're going to make an Indiana Jones movie, another one, I would love to see it be a court drama. I would love to see him taken to court for the things he's removed from their countries. And that would be exciting. Just an old ass Harrison Ford grumpily in the box. It's about preservation. Or like, yeah, I would love that. Oh my God, please. The people versus Indiana Jones. Somebody write this.
The whole ass country versus Indiana Jones. My God. India versus Indiana Jones.
I love it.
You stole priceless artifacts from one of our indigenous communities. And your second
I ask you
film.
again, sir, where is the Ark of the Covenant? I don't know. It's just somewhere in a box. Just
Yeah.
I got to work on my Harrison Ford.
That one did not belong in a museum.
No,
that one definitely does. That one belonged under lock and key.
We can all agree that the gold melt face box does not belong in public.
Right. But we're not talking about indigenous artifacts. There's no colonialism to be had here that needs to be called out for what it is.
Hold on a second there, partner.
There's plenty of colonialism in music. Just look up Wimboe.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the guy that wrote that song died penniless.
Wow.
And then, well, not that Pete Seeger died a super duper wealthy man, but I think that was more of his choice. But still, I think the guy who wrote the song probably should have gotten paid for it.
Sure, but when we're talking about vintage guitars that were made in
colonialism.
What?
Just kidding.
What?
Actually, you know what? Quick sidebar. There's a documentary on Hulu right now called Who Let the Dogs Out, and it is honest, hand to God, one of the most interesting things I've ever watched in my life.
For real?
Oh my God.
Oh.
Like the whole time, my husband and I were looking like, how much deeper does this go?
Oh my God.
It sounds like a really woke whodunit kind of film.
What'd you say? Would you say it's on which streaming service?
Hulu.
Okay,
Hulu.
I've got that.
It came out in 2019. Yeah. Well, it is an adventure.
I managed to derail this conversation so far.
Dope. I love it. Derail my train of thought, bro.
Vintage guitar. So vintage Fenders that were made in Santa Ana or Fullerton that are. There's no colonialism happening here, so we don't have to worry about the clear Indiana Jones kind of issue that we've got there. I think it's completely fair to say this belongs in a museum because part of guitar is the music, yes, but also the gear side of things. I think it's I think it's entirely valid for us to recognize that there's a sense of historical significance around. There's a significance to the lore. There's a the stories and the gear itself are also very important, along with the stories of the music that the gear makes. Yeah. And I think especially the way that we treat even new gear and how much we hype up the lore and the King of Tone, or some you go to check back and a Kilt V1's going for $500. Yeah. Just the way that we treat the gear and the gear community that's even recent, to then flip it and say, you should be playing, you shouldn't put that in a museum. Come on, guys. I feel like there's a bit of a double standard happening there with the way that's kind of thrown out there is this guitar was built to be played. Yeah. I also think it's consistent with some of Fender's custom shop work with some of the builds that they've done. They're clearly just not meant to be played.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Some guitars are made to be art pieces or, examples of workmanship. Okay. That's okay.
It's like those $10,000 Gibsons.
Yeah.
I don't think they expect people to play those.
Sometimes no, absolutely not.
I'm thinking the Fabergé Egg Strat.
Yeah, please don't play that. Please don't buy that or display it or do anything with it. That's impressive feat, but I've seen it in person. It's not my thing. Let's just call it that. But we're the other thing to think about here is that we are largely discussing luxury items as well, and that's something to think about too, because I would say that most guitars qualify as luxury items at this point because of list prices. I mean,
at what point does a guitar become a luxury item?
I think most are. I think
You think anything over $500 is a luxury item?
I don't know if I'm smart enough to put an exact price on it, but I could make just as much music as I'm making now on a Squier. I don't need Pancake. I have grown so accustomed to that guitar. It does everything I need it to. I have arguments for owning it, but it's do you need a $3,000 guitar to make the next hit record? Of course not. So we're making choices, and then there's nothing wrong with that. There's no moral component. You don't have to own a vintage guitar. If you want one, you are free to do so. That's okay. Yeah. But yeah, especially the guitars in that collection, we are talking 100% luxury items, and I don't know. There's that component to think about as well. I don't know why I brought that up without having a point.
Yeah, I also think that per your point, there are those people who are give it to a kid people. Like, one, these are not the guitars you would give to a kid. Two,
No.
shut up. You give your guitar to a kid.
The guitars you would
And
give to a
three-
kid, there's no shortage
and
of.
three, I mean, if you want to give a guitar to a kid, this is the guitar you give to a kid.
Hell yeah. I was just thinking of Lug.
Yeah, these are the guitars you give to a kid. This is not the guitar you give to a kid.
Yeah.
That's not the guitar you give to a kid.
Yeah.
That's not a guitar you give to a kid. This is a guitar you give to a child.
Yeah.
Okay? And like I that bugs me, but the third one is there's plenty of guitars in the world,
There's
y'all.
too many. We have so
There-
many guitars.
Honestly, and I'm bad about it, and I am part of the problem. Like, I'll admit that before anybody else does. Like, I do demos to convince people to buy guitars if they want to.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of guitars, like, of varying levels of quality. I think that if you're really concerned about environmentalism and that kind of impact of it, like, you buy one guitar and you have one guitar, and that's like the most environmental way you can do it, but that would make guitars so freaking expensive.
And also the fact that our individual environmentalist mindset is not going to stop any company from making more guitars. That's something. Somebody was like yelling at me in my DMs when Phoebe Bridgers broke the baritone, and they were saying that it's morally good to not break guitars because when you break a guitar, well, then they have to make one to replace that, and that's not
That's not how it works.
They're going to do that anyway. They're going to make more guitars no matter what. That's what companies do. Like me deciding
like-
not to buy a guitar doesn't mean there's going to be one less on the shelf.
There's not enough guitars being broken to make a dent in a manufacturing forecast.
I would argue that
Yeah,
maybe
and
not even
also-
Pete Townsend did enough.
Right.
No, because he kept gluing the ones he broke back together.
Exactly. Same with Kurt Cobain. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God. And also, like, for environmentalism, like, the consumer grade level of that, not nearly as important as the corporate level. Like, we've really
absolutely.
pushed, like, individual responsibility in terms of recycling. I think that's grand, but it's kind of a drop in the bucket compared to big time polluters.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, don't complain about, like, the environmentalism of breaking a cheap guitar, like a Dan Electro guitar, and then, like, buy a Firefly guitar or buy some other disposable stuff when you could be using, like, you're buying Ziploc bags instead of, like, Tupperware containers.
Or let's
That's
be
not-
honest, if I had to take a gander, the carbon footprint of the average U.S. household's Amazon purchases in a month probably exceeds the carbon footprint of breaking one Dan Electro guitar.
I've wondered about that. I've wondered about shipping, especially. I feel like shipping has such a huge carbon footprint compared
It
to
does.
what it takes to make one guitar. But I am speaking out of turn. I don't have the data, but I want to know what the breakdown is.
I mean, shoot, there's a huge environmental implication of, like, a lot of not all of, before somebody says not all, cryptocurrency.
Oh yeah,
The amount of
absolutely.
Yeah, the amount of electricity that takes is like
Staggering.
depending on what state you live in, like crypto mining is just you lose money with how much electricity, like what your electric bill is going to be.
Yeah. And I know that they're like Ethereum 2.0 supposedly, like, is better, but I know that is kind of a part of that we don't really talk about ever because no one really thinks about the environmental implications.
Bill
of,
Gates is talking about it.
Well,
Thank you, BG.
remember what happened last time you brought up Bill Gates on this podcast?
What happened last time you brought up Bill Gates on this podcast?
Oh, nothing. Just we'll see you later.
Did Bill Gates reach out? Hey,
No.
hey! I heard you were
Andrew,
talking
you're
shit.
fired. Andrew, you're fired. That's not at all what Bill Gates sounds like. Can you do a Bill Gates voice?
Andrew, you're fired. We've had
not
enough
Bill-
of you in this town.
I want the voice actor to do a Bill Gates voice.
I think I did. I think I just did. Hey,
Was that?
keep my name out of your mouth. I actually don't even remember what Bill Gates sounds like.
Yeah. I like the old joke. I don't have pronouns. Don't talk about me.
Don't talk about me. Do not refer to me at all.
Oh, that's a good one.
I really got you. You really like that one, Emily.
Well, I about broke you first thing, like out of the gate. Why were you even laughing that hard?
It was hilarious.
Oh no,
to me.
it was Smurfs.
As if they were scarves. That's oh my god.
But it's also like as if they were loaves. I think that is just like the phonetic way to
just tickled
pluralize
me in
it
a way
with
that I cannot explain or understand. Just I'm even having to cough back a little bit of a laugh right now because it is still very good.
What if the plural of big muffs was big muvs?
Muvs, big moves.
All right,
Yeah,
so
your collection of muvs is incredible.
I like that better.
Your collection of muvs.
Muffs is such an ugly word. Like those two F's really just like feels like it falls out of your mouth every time you say it.
Muffs. Muff.
So back to luxury guitars for a moment. For like guitars being luxury items, I would go. I'm going to say something that I know.
Oh, brace myself.
I know. It's okay for people to have nice things.
It's okay for people.
It's okay for people to have a lot of nice things.
Controversial.
It is not okay for people to have a lot of nice things if they are underpaying their employees.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we get hung up. So if we want to talk about like people having nice things, like, oh, eat the rich, like, you know, if they earn their money, that's fine. It's okay for generational wealth to exist. But with the guitar community, I think there's a level of nuance that in this conversation that I think a lot of people are glossing over is we don't know what this person does for a living for these collectors. No idea. And it maybe to a degree, the way that capitalism is running these days, maybe there's a safe assumption there that there's some sort of exploitation that happened in order for them to be able to afford 178 vintage guitars.
I feel like there usually is.
But there's no guarantee there. I don't know.
And we also don't know over what period of time. Like you said, like 160 guitars. Right?
That was not, I believe.
170. So, like, let's say this person has been collecting for
a couple decades,
50 years.
Yeah.
If they're collecting over 50 years, it's 3.4 guitars a year. I think most people buy more than 3 hats a year.
They could be a doctor.
Oh, the amount I spent on jean jackets a couple years ago. Woof. Woof.
So anyways, my point is it just kind of breaking that down a little bit further about what it means to own a luxury item. I think it's okay.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with it. Yeah, if you like a guitar, go for it. That's great. Finding the right instrument for you is such an important process and something that I fully support, no matter what that ends up being. Like I have, and I have my own personal limit of what I want to spend on a guitar. Like the reason that I did not make my Trini Lopez dream come true is because I could not fucking get past the entry price on that. Like I got that Gibson one for a good price, the custom shop. And if not for the neck, I would have kept it. But like the idea of spending over $6,000 on a guitar, I just couldn't do it. Maybe I'm a giant baby, but I just couldn't do it. So
I would struggle.
I don't think I've spent more than $3,000 on a guitar, and that was my 70s 355 that I love and miss. Yeah. And I just don't know. I just don't know if I'd ever cross that line.
I have guitars that are like worth $3,000, but most of them I did trades for, or they like increased in value. Totally.
I don't think. I mean, I have some expensive stuff like Pancake. If I would sell that, I mean, sky's the limit. Like you would have to make that very worth my while for me to ever consider selling it, which I don't think I would. But I paid $2,250 for that in Portland in 2012. So like.
Nice, no sales tax.
Yeah, well, I mean, I bought it from a guy. Bought it from a dude.
Oh, no. I bought it from a guy.
Bought it from a guy who, made me a sweet deal on it. But yeah, man, I just don't know. And if you want to spend over $3,000 on a guitar, I'm not telling you not to. I'm just saying, like, I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do it too. And I'm sure Gibson's executives are like, huh, but.
That's what I'm saving it for. I'm saving it for that secret guitar. That's the one that I'll have to raise so much money if it ever comes up. So yeah. And then I will break my rule, but it'll be in service of a dream, and that's okay to me.
Yeah. I think that might be a good place to kind of wrap it up. But just like remember that collectors exist, and there's nothing in and of itself that's morally reprehensible for being a collector. Like it depends on how you got there. And I think it would be I don't think it would be helpful for us to make any assumptions about how this person got their guitars, how they got their money, why they didn't notice. I think it would be irresponsible, in fact, to make assumptions about this. But that's just kind of how I feel about like a lot of gossip in general.
Yeah,
but
me too.
Yeah, so
I don't know.
Mike,
I think all guitar collectors enslaved Smurfs to be able to afford them.
Smurfs.
I'm loving that it's Collectors Awareness Month. I feel really enlightened. But if I find out that this collector ends up being Jeff Bezos, that's it. I'm out.
Big change. Paul Allen, I could have imagined, actually.
Yeah. Actually, I thought about him a little bit too, because I know someone who works for him and takes care of his collection.
He died.
Will work for him. I wasn't aware of the status of his liveliness, so thank you for letting me know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I guess you don't live in Seattle anymore.
I don't. It's great. I don't have to know anything about Paul Allen anymore. Oh, the weight off my shoulders.
Yes.
The Office was pretty blue the day that was announced. Yeah.
I'm very sorry to hear that.
It was fall 2019, I think. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Didn't hear anything about that.
Well, there was a lot happening.
A little bit.
Time is but a figment of our imaginations at this point.
A lot has happened since then, I think, is kind of more what it is. Like, sometimes I'll be like, oh, that happened in 2019? God. Like, I forgot that happened.
It's like it was a decade ago. I mean, it was last decade, but...
Hey, Mike, so if people want to find you, do you have anything to promote? Any place to be found?
Yeah, go find me on YouTube. It's my Instagram handle as well. PUISHEEN. A dumb handle that still follows me around to this day, and I haven't changed it yet. Maybe I will someday. But it's pronounced Pusheen, and it's the onomatopoetic sound of a cartoon sword being unsheathed. But you can find me just by searching that or my name, Mike Adams. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Patreon, all of that good stuff.
We're your Patreon supporters.
I know,
we
and I'm so
take money from
grateful.
Our patrons and give it to you.
It blows my mind. Thank you so much. I can't believe it.
If you want to support us supporting Mike, you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/getoffset. You can buy stuff at getoffsetpodcast.com/shop. Somebody bought a shirt. I'm going to look that up right now and thank that person for fuzz sake. So somebody named Philip. Thank you for buying that shirt, Philip. Phil D from Connecticut.
Hell yeah, Connecticut.
It makes me so happy every time I hear the lovely news that one of my designs has been purchased.
Yes.
That's lovely. What a great
feeling. And also
feeling.
John
It really
O
is.
from Michigan bought one on January 7th. And those are the most recent sales of that shirt.
That rules.
Oh, and I have an envelope that's going out tomorrow with
did people message you about those stickers?
I got one taker, and there's a lot here. So by all means, I'm sending out stickers.
Yeah, hit him up on his personal Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Link in our Instagram bio. Also, please rate, review on iTunes. Please leave a nice review on iTunes. Please subscribe to the YouTube. Please like and comment the YouTubes. I don't know. Tell people about this. Tell your bandmates about this. Tell your friends about this. Tell your children. Tell your children's children.
Tell your children the tale of Get Offset.
Tell your Prince fans. Tell your Hold Steady fans. Well, that's all I got. Anybody else have anything else before we let people go? This is going to be a very long lunch break for me.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Thanks for understanding.
Thanks for listening.
Until next time.
My name's Andrew.
Also listening. My name is Emily. That's
and
Mike.
Mine is Mike. I got it this time.
Until next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.